Hi dears, how are you? So today we are continuing with the continuing nursing education topics. That is, we already discussed regarding the definition, features, and the principles. Can complete with the process. That is, mainly it is involved in the three process. That is planning, implementation, and evaluation process. First, we have to plan. Based on any program, we have to plan something. So here in continuing nursing education, establishing goal with the purpose or philosophy of the organization. According to the organization policy, we have to establish the goals based on the purpose or the philosophy. Then how to plan? We have to plan according to what is to be done. We have a clear understanding of what is expected to do and can divide it into different aspects or break it into separate jobs. That is delegation. We already learned very thoroughly about delegation, right? Okay. Then what is to be done in first in the planning formula. Next, why is it necessary? What is important? By eliminating unnecessary movements, alternative method to reach the goals. We are doing why. What is the need? Then how can be done? By utilization of our resources. Main resources are man, money, material, and equipments. We have to use it as we have something. Then where is to be done? Study the flow of work, availability of the material and equipment best suited to do the job. Where to do this job. Then when is to be done? We have to set the time schedule, how to time duration. Then who should do these jobs? Skilled persons. Determine what skills are needed to do that, and we have to train them. Select or train the man for particular duty. That is included in the planning. And next include establishing goals and objectives. We have to planning move towards goals which are significant, realistic, and can be attained. We cannot go for some goals or plans that cannot be attained, that cannot be achieved. Impossible goals are not here. So we have to plan according to the significant, realistic, and can be achievable only. Then determine the needs and priorities. We have to plan according to the priority. That is by survey method, mailed questionnaires from the resource persons, and interview methods, formal and informal discussion with the participants and checklist. After that, prioritization of the needs has to be done. Then assess the available resources like faculty, finances, and facilities are we have to assess. We have to access the available resources. Then plan the budget. Separate budget is required for each activity and individual offering is expected, which is sanctioned by government or the university grants or the private management is here. Or fee collected from participants, we have to get the sanction from the government. And the coordinators have to write the proposal after the problem has been identified. If there any problems are identified, we have to write the proposal. We are already learned about the preparation of the budget and all those things, right? Then after this planning all, we are going for the implementation. Interaction of the teacher and learner. It consists of teaching learning principles, and the principles of adult learning will be following. Cognitive style, teaching methods are all involved in this implementation phase. Next, evaluation. We can evaluate at different stages, from the preparatory stage itself and through the implementation stage, and after this program, after a course, impact of the program, how it is helpful for the person to develop their skill in the service, and the process of program operation, management system, effort, and performance evaluation. So these all included in this evaluation. And then what to evaluate? How to evaluate? Evaluation should cover what all the things we have to evaluate. Growth and satisfaction of the participants. After this course or after the workshop, we are getting feedback from the participants. The outcome course, effectiveness of faculty members, and transfer of knowledge if any modification is needed, and effect on the system after this course or the workshop. Any knowledge improvement, we are taking pre-test post-test like that. Yes, that is included in the procedure for evaluation. Pre-test and post-test analysis, we can assess the if participant get more knowledge or not. And attitude test, observation of the skills, direct observation we can get from the demonstration. then questionnaires, audio or video tapes. These are the procedures for the evaluation. Then there is a repeated question on this in-service education and continuing education differentiation. It's a repeated question in your university syllabus. So we can move with the in-service education. That is, I think you already discussed about this topic. In-service education, that is, you all are familiar with in-service education. In our hospital setting also, we are practicing this in-service education within the organization. If a person or a group of nurses are recruited in an institution, they are going for a orientation program, just orienting to the institutional policies, philosophy, and motives of the hospital, and practices. They are going for 1 or 2 weeks of orientation programs are provided. These are included in the in-service education, and some basic skills are practicing. These are included in this in-service education. But our continuing education is not like that. It is just updating or knowledge by a particular course, by a diploma course, by a PG course or seminar or workshop. Just providing a certificate course for that. It is continuing education. So, in-service education is always given within the organization. But continuing education, it can be from this same organization or from another or outside organization. And in-service is during the job process itself. Continuing can be done by a part-time job, but after a basic education program. In-service is planned and ongoing, designed to meet the demands of the changing needs. Advanced technologies are practicing in this in-service education. It includes orientation, skill training, leadership and management development training, on-job training. And in continuing education includes extension courses, post-diploma, postgraduate courses in other institutions, workshops, seminar, professional conferences, some international or national conferences, and education activities outside the organization. So that's all regarding the continuing education. So far we discussed about the continuing nursing education, its process, mainly planning, implementation and evaluation process, and the difference between in-service education and continuing education. So I hope you got some idea regarding this. Thank you. That's all regarding the continuing nursing education.